Hi, I'm Ann Beversdorf and welcome to Beversdorf Briefings. We've been talking in these briefings about the outer planet energies that the world is experiencing at this time in our history. The outer planets are the ones who are farthest from the sun, and so their cycle is very, very slow. And when they have geometric patterns to each other, those patterns last a long time because the planets slowly move into these positions and slowly move out. And patterns that are slow in developing tend to affect us more strongly. Now, astrology is a funny thing. We talk about the planets affecting us. We don't know how that works. We don't know why that works. And the fact is, they probably don't affect us at all. It's a synchronous thing. It's kind of like the clock in the sky is saying it's time for this. But just because the clock in the office says 12 noon doesn't mean everybody goes to lunch. That's just acceptable about what you do at lunch. If you look at time in general and clocks in general, it all has to do with the planets. We think of monthly cycles. That's really about the moon cycles. Day and night are timed. The clock is the sun. So just because the sun gets up at 5 or 6 in the morning doesn't mean that everybody else gets up, but it's the time most people get up. So we can look at the planets in the sky as a timing device, a certain kind of clock. Some people it will affect very, very directly. Other people it will affect less directly. But when we have a lot of slow planet energy in tight geometric angles at the same time, it may not affect you personally, but it will affect the world we live in. An example of the difference between you personally and the world we live in, I talked with a client last week who said, I'm really concerned about my job. I work at a university and I'm a professor, and they say they're going to lay off 20% of the faculty. The planets in the sky that are causing difficulty for the university were not causing difficulty for her in any way, shape, or form. And I was able to say, you're not in that 20% because this clock is not your clock. It's not the clock of your timing for difficulty in being laid off. Now, last time we talked about the planets Saturn and Uranus and how they have created a very revolutionary tension since their first exact conjunction on Election Day of 2008. The Saturn-Uranus tension is the tension of the old way being confronted by the rebel, the need to get out of this pattern at any cost, the need to break away. So we've got the people, the old guard we can call them, represented by one of these planets, Saturn, and we've got the new thinking, rebellious change agents represented by the other planet, and they are in a knockdown, drag-out fight, really, for the next several years. We talked about that. We talked about what it feels like. It talks about the feeling is being impatient, and the other end of the feeling is being resistant to change. And those are the big internal feelings. And what I want to do today is talk about the internal feelings and the external circumstances of two more planets that are in this very, very complicated planetary soup that we are experiencing globally. And these planets are Saturn with Pluto. These planets are already roughly in a geometric angle. This geometric angle will become exact at the end of November this year, and they will become exact several more times until about 2016. So we've got a big pattern going on here. Saturn, again, is the planet of responsibility, authority, the past, old ways, old systems, the bureaucracy, the structure. Pluto, on the other hand, is the pattern of symbolic death and rebirth, and it's also the pattern of absolute power. So we've got these two things in a war right now. Societally, one of the things that we can see is Saturn representing the bureaucracies, the structures, and therefore the financial structure, certainly the infrastructure. is being challenged by Pluto, which is a death and rebirth planet. So this started, the precise angle started to come close enough to count as an angle at exactly the point that just in September of last year, of '08, when the economy crashed. That was when it first started. It was so exact that astrologers were looking and saying, oh my gosh, who could have believed it was so exact? That this, exactly when this started, we're seeing this meltdown. We haven't hit the exactness yet. The exactness of this geometrical angle comes at the end of November. So we can anticipate the categorical clarity of this system is broken to appear to us. The other thing that we've got is we've got the old structures and the authority figures here, represented by Saturn, confronted with absolute power. This is kind of interesting to me, because we can look at the president. What better authority figure do you have than the president? This is the structure. This is the way it's been, even if he is a revolutionary kind of president, or he's not. It's hard to tell. But anyway, this is the epitome of the authority figure, the President of the United States. But Pluto is the ultimate power. Just because you've got the authority doesn't mean you've got the power. And Pluto, you've heard of the word a plutocrat? These are the people who pull the strings. These are the people who know where the money is, and they know where life and death issues are. So these are big issues that we're going to be looking at over the next several years. Who's got the power and who's got the authority? Guess what? Power wins. And we'll talk to you next time.